Welcome into the AHSAA Weekly, an inside look at all the happenings with the Alabama High School Athletic Association. I'm John Holder. Coming up on this week's program, we're going to talk with a legendary volleyball coach, Coach Julie Gordon of Montgomery Academy, as her team gets ready to chase another state championship in the volleyball playoffs. Also coming up tonight, the head football coach of the Eufaula Tigers, Ed Rigby, and one of his players, an Alabama-Mississippi All-Star Classic Alabama lineman, Kade Gotthard. We'll talk Eufaula football and the Alabama-Mississippi All-Star Classic as well. Also coming up tonight, the Associate Director of the Alabama High School Athletic Association, Alvin Briggs, will be with us as we talk about the Alabama High School Athletic Association state football playoffs, which will be getting underway in just a couple of weeks. And also, we'll talk officiating tonight. Ken Washington is the Assistant Director of Officials for the Athletic Association. We're going to talk about not only attracting officials, but retaining them as well. All of that and more coming up on this week's AHSAA Weekly.
Hot under the collar because your basement is full of water? Call a local company you can trust. Ox Foundation Solutions. We use the most advanced water management system to stop water from invading your basement for good. Things feeling a little uneven at home? Ox Foundation Solutions will fix your uneven concrete sidewalk, driveway, or basement in no time. Ox Foundation Solutions has the best plan to keep your home safe. If you are experiencing any issues with your sidewalks, basement, crawl space, or foundation, get a free estimate from Ox Foundations.
WOTM, your TV home for high school sports in Alabama. This Thursday on WOTM, catch the AHSAA High School Football Game of the Week presented by Ox Foundations. This week's matchup will feature the Briarwood Lions versus the Fairfield Tigers. Stay with WOTM through the postseason for live games all 4 weeks of the playoffs. WOTM, the home of the AHSAA Super 7 live from Jordan-Hare.
We are back on the AHSAA Weekly. We take you to Montgomery now, and we have a very special guest with us this time. We are pleased to be joined by one of the top volleyball coaches in state history. We're talking about Julie Gordon. She is the head volleyball coach at the Montgomery Academy High School in Montgomery. 1,400 career wins. 40 years as a coach. She spent all of her career at Montgomery Academy in Montgomery, 5 state championships. They are the defending Class 3A state champion, as a matter of fact, headed to the state playoffs again, inducted into the Alabama High School Sports Hall of Fame in 2013. Coach Gordon, it is a pleasure to have you with us this week on AHSAA Weekly.
Thank you so much, and it's 1,400 wins in 41 years.
Awesome, awesome, awesome. Coach, just 1,400, that's a lot of volleyball games. That's a lot of kills and spikes and aces and assists down through the years. Just reflecting back on your career of those 1,400 wins, take us kind of down memory lane there.
Well, you know, it's a long process. I've been there, like I said, 41 years, and you know, I'm not so hung up on stats and wins and losses, but what I am hung up on is the relationships that I share with all these kids, our program culture, and we've been very successful for all these years, and that all relates to the kids, their commitment, our parents, our administration. We have a good team effort at Montgomery Academy, and that has helped lead to the success I've had over these years.
Coach Gordon, I would think the consistency of having you and your program in place and the way you do things has had to be a big key, decade after decade after decade, people knowing what Montgomery Academy volleyball is all about. Am I right?
That's right, that's right. And you know, I have my hands on in the middle school program, the JV program, and there's something to be said about consistency, and coaches, the players know what to expect. They know your intensity level. They know that practices are going to be just hard. We have very good practices, and I think that's one thing that's led to our success. So many times I will say, if we just play like we practice, we're going to be very successful.
Coach, you've won another area title. You're headed back to the South Regional there in Montgomery at the Crampton Bowl Multiplex coming up this weekend. Just tell us about this year's team.
Well, this year's team, they're a great team. They're very intense. It doesn't matter what sport they're playing. We just had a dodgeball tournament last week, and these girls were all in, and it's just exciting to be a part. I've got 7 seniors, 8 juniors, and they go after it. They work hard in practice. They go after it in matches. And to go and play in our hometown, we don't have to travel. We get to sleep in our own bed and play in this beautiful facility, the multiplex at Crampton Bowl, that our city believed in volleyball, knew that volleyball is going to grow and has grown, and one of the best sports now in the nation. We're excited. We're excited. There's some good 3A schools, and we hope to go down there Thursday and Friday and compete and have good results.
Coach Gordon, you mentioned volleyball in the state of Alabama. It is growing by leaps and bounds. Alabama always on the cutting edge of all high school sports, especially with championship events. And I know a couple of years ago, the Athletic Association kind of changed the playoff format. Tell us what you think changing formats has done for the popularity of volleyball in Alabama.
Well, the High School Athletic Association has done a lot for volleyball, and that goes back to when Wanda Gilliland was here on staff, and she really worked hard to progress our sport, and now Denise Ainsworth has taken over, and Alabama has been on the cutting edge as far as rules go and experimenting rules with us and allowing Alabama to be the cutting edge state. And we've had a lot of states that modeled their program after us. So we've got some good things happening, and the facility at the Crossplex is great. Going to play the championship now in the smaller arena is just quaint. It's exciting, and it's a great place to come and watch high school volleyball.
Coach Gordon, that championship event in Birmingham is off the charts exciting. I would dare say there's not very many states in this country that have as an exciting state championship volleyball event as we have right here in Alabama. You've been a part of a lot of those. Would you agree with that?
Absolutely, absolutely. And it's the court and the stadium seating is right there. The fans can interact, and it's so exciting to have, the fans are just following all these schools, and to have a big student section from both schools just makes it really exciting, and it's fun to coach in, and the players love playing in it. Yes, I hope to be there.
Coach Gordon, it's always a privilege to have a true legend with us, and you are a legendary coach in this state in any sport, not just volleyball. Congratulations on a great career. Congratulations on another great season. Best of luck to you and your team at Montgomery Academy as you pursue another Class 3A state title.
Thank you so much.
Coach Julie Gordon, head volleyball coach of the Montgomery Academy Eagles in Class 3A, looking for another state title in 3A volleyball. We'll be back with more of the AHSAA Weekly in just a moment.
Hot under the collar because your basement is full of water? Call a local company you can trust. Ox Foundation Solutions. We use the most advanced water management system to stop water from invading your basement for good. Get a free estimate from Ox Foundations.
WOTM, your TV home for high school sports in Alabama. This Thursday on WOTM, catch the AHSAA High School Football Game of the Week presented by Ox Foundations. This week's matchup will feature the Briarwood Lions versus the Fairfield Tigers. Stay with WOTM through the postseason for live games all 4 weeks of the playoffs. WOTM, the home of the AHSAA Super 7 live from Jordan-Hare.
What's lurking under your home? Moisture and unsafe air from your crawl space can infiltrate your home, causing health hazards and high utility bills. Ox Foundation Solutions will help you with the best plan to keep your home safe. Get a free estimate from Ox Foundations.
We're back on the AHSAA Weekly. At this time, two special guests joining us. The head football coach of the Eufaula Tigers, Coach Ed Rigby, also one of his outstanding players, so outstanding as a matter of fact, he was selected just recently to be a member of the Alabama team in the Alabama-Mississippi All-Star Classic. We're talking about big number 53 offensive lineman Kade Gotthard. Gentlemen, welcome in. Glad to have you with us this week on the AHSAA Weekly.
Thank you for having us. We're glad to be here.
Kade, we'll begin with you. When you found out that you were going to be a member of the Alabama team on the Alabama-Mississippi All-Star Classic game, what was the feeling like? What did that mean to you?
Oh, it was surreal. It's just an honor to be chosen to play with some of the best in the states of Alabama and Mississippi. Obviously,
when you're one of the top offensive linemen in the state of Alabama, which you are, you have a number of colleges, I'm sure, pursuing you. You're uncommitted to this time. Tell us about the college recruiting at this point in time.
Well, I'm just looking to stay close to home, and that's about it.
That's good news for folks across the state of Alabama, close to home. Down in Barber County at Eufaula, you've got a lot of options across the state of Alabama and in the southeast, kind of centrally located there. So I'm sure a lot of colleges will be looking to have your services. Let's talk about offensive line play. You're one of the top offensive linemen in this state. What's your favorite thing? A couple of favorite things maybe about playing offensive line.
It's just that I get to hit somebody every play. You know, it's a selfless position. You go out there and you're out there for somebody else. You're blocking for the quarterbacks and running backs, and you know you don't get a whole lot of criticism, I guess. But you know, it's an awesome thing to be out there for someone else.
You are having an outstanding season, and your team is having an outstanding season. We'll talk with Coach about this in just a moment, but you're 7-2, only one loss to a team from the state of Alabama, headed to the Class 6A state playoffs. This has been a very successful season so far. Talk about this 2019 season at Eufaula.
Oh, it's been a great year. When nobody thought we could do it in classification I don't believe we should be in, it just shows we can overcome adversity and play with anybody in the state.
Let's jump over and talk with Coach Rigby now. Coach, you are in the midst, as we said, of a great season there. Eufaula in 6A. For the first time ever, for so many years, Eufaula was a 5A school, moving up to 6A in the last reclassification, but obviously holding your own. You've been having a great season. And this guy right here sitting next to you, a big key to that success, I'm sure.
Oh, yes. You know, Kade, well deserving of being on the Mississippi Alabama All-Star team to play in the game. He's a road grader. As an O-line guy personally and an O-line coach, he's what you're looking for on the offensive line. Loves the physicality of the play, vicious from whistle to whistle, sweet teddy bear off the field. But on the field, you know, between the whistles, very vindictive. He likes to bury people when he gets them up, gets his feet accelerated, likes to bury it and finish blocks. Right now, Kade, how many pancake blocks do you have right now on the season?
I have 68.
68 pancake blocks, and we still got games to be played. And, you know, these aren't the old school fall on them. These are just those vicious kind of rub you in the dirt a little bit. So as an O-line guy, he's exactly what you want to coach, and he'll be successful in the game. You know, he'll be a great standout and a great asset to the team.
Well, Coach, you have convinced me he's not the kind of guy I want to mess with, obviously, and he is a super football player. But I'm going to guess that he's also one of your team leaders as well, not only on the field but off the field, right?
No doubt. You know, those things are always kind of hand in hand. And the thing about, you know, Kade, he's not going to be the cheerleader vocal leader. He's going to lead by his actions. He practices exactly the way he plays. Never takes a break, never takes a play off. No matter how long he's out there, how many reps he's getting, it's always the same. Hey, Kade, you good? You good? I'm good, coach. I'm good, coach. And you'll look in his face and no, maybe he's not, but he's a football player. And, you know, there's a lot of bigger statue athletes out there on the offensive line. But again, do you want a big athlete or do you want a football player? And he's definitely a football player.
Coach Rigby, as you continue climbing that ladder in 6A, having great success, what does it mean from a program standpoint to have a player selected to the Alabama-Mississippi All-Star Classic?
Well, it's huge. Being blessed to be able to coach in the game before and see how important it is to our state. In the state of Alabama, as a high school athlete, and this is of every sport, the highest actual high school honor there is in the state of Alabama, really to me, isn't first team All-State and all those kind of things, because those are picked by a broad range of news reporters and things like that. This is picked by the coaches in the state that see your validity and who you are as a player to be one of the ones that's good enough to go up against the best at the state of Mississippi, who's a tremendously talented state in high school sports also. So to me, this is the highest honor that any athlete at the high school level, obviously going on to college and those things are different. But far as being in high school, to me, this is the highest honor. And that being such a big honor, it's huge for our high school. Gives it validity in what we're doing, shows the type of talent, because as people come to look at him, they're finding other players in our program. And that is the beauty of his leadership, the way he plays, and what he's bringing to the table. And being on the Mississippi Alabama team is bringing that much more to the table also.
Coach Rigby, thank you for joining us. Thank you for bringing Kade with you. Kade, thank you for being with us tonight. Best of luck to both of you and the rest of the Eufaula team as you head into the Class 6A state playoffs coming up in just a few days.
Amen. Well, thank you so much for having us.
Ed Rigby, head football coach of the Eufaula Tigers. His offensive lineman, Kade Gotthard, a member of the Alabama-Mississippi All-Star team on the Alabama team. Our guest here this week on the AHSAA Weekly. More in just a moment.
Don't crack under the pressure of foundation issues. The certified specialists at Ox Foundation Solutions can permanently fix foundation problems at the best price, guaranteed. If you are experiencing foundation issues, get a free estimate from Ox Foundations.
Use suicide. Don't want to talk about it? You should. Hi, I'm Nick Saban, head football coach at the University of Alabama. 4 out of 5 teens who attempt suicide have given clear warning signs. By knowing the warning signs associated with suicide and knowing how to help, you could save a life. Visit jasonfoundation.com and start learning how you can make a difference.
Things feeling a little uneven at home? Ox Foundation Solutions will fix your uneven concrete sidewalk, driveway, or basement in no time. Locally owned and accredited, Ox Foundation Solutions will come up with the right fix for you. Get a free estimate from Ox Foundations.
We're back on the AHSAA Weekly. We take you to the AHSAA offices in Montgomery to speak with the Associate Executive Director of the Alabama High School Athletic Association, Alvin Briggs. Joining us this evening, Alvin, great to have you with us on AHSAA Weekly.
John, thanks you for having me on the weekly show. I'm happy to be a part of it.
Nobody knows football and sports in the state of Alabama better than Alvin Briggs, a former Greenville Tiger, Auburn Tiger, spent some time coaching in the state, up at UNA at the University of North Alabama, former Dallas Cowboy as well. Just a great skill set of experience that you brought to the Alabama High School Athletic Association. And one of the things you're in charge of is football. And we want to talk about football because I would imagine, Alvin, that on November the 2nd, that's a Saturday, it's probably the busiest one day of the year at the offices in Montgomery because you have that morning about 280 football coaches and principals and so forth that come to Montgomery from all over the state for high school football playoff meetings. Tell us about that day coming up on November the 2nd.
It's a very exciting time for all our coaches and administrators because we do start our playoff meetings on November the 2nd. And you're correct. That's close to 300 people that will enter the door of the Alabama High School Athletic Association on that day to come to set the brackets. You know, we have another exciting part of that day also. You guys will be there to actually film the first time we set the brackets for our playoffs, and it will be an exciting time because all our schools and everybody around be looking to see who's playing who's going where, what time the games are going to be. It's just one of those great feelings that all schools are excited about during this time of the year.
We are pleased to bring that to folks for the first time ever. It's going to be kind of like the NCAA bracket reveal. We'll do that with the AHSAA and all 7 classes, 1A through 7A, right here on WOTM all across the state of Alabama. Now, this will be in 2 waves. They don't all come at one time. You break this up into 2 separate meetings, Alvin. Is that right?
Yes, we break it up. Our first class will meet at 9 o'clock that Saturday, 1A, 2A, and 3A, along with their principal or assistant principal, athletic director will come and join them. And they'll get some game management from Mr. Savarese. There'll be some other instructions from Mark Jones, the director of officials. Ron Ingram's giving some media credentials and they also receive their game tickets that day. But most importantly, they get a chance to claim their seat. They're coming in, they claim their seat for the next 5 weeks, and they get a chance to talk to the peers, the ones they haven't seen all season or talked all season, because they won't break any superstitions. So they'll get to claim their seat and see who will be sitting with them for the next 3, 4, 5 weeks. And, the one thing about that, what we also do is we take up the chairs as we go along. So a lot of them get disappointed because their seat's no longer there, and they'll try to sit to another seat to kind of keep them there for the next couple of weeks. And then at 10:30, our class 4A through 7A will come in, and it'll start all over again. But it is exciting for all our schools and all our coaching. We all enjoy it. Everybody at this office, it's a big day because we're all here. We're all ready to go. We have one of our sponsors, Jax, who will be part of it, serving breakfast. It's just an enjoyable time for everyone.
Alvin, finally, I know one of the things that's important to you and one of the things that will be an emphasis when these coaches come in for the meetings in Montgomery, and really is an emphasis throughout the year, is sportsmanship. What are some of the things that you try to impart to coaches about sportsmanship?
Well, that'd be always a main focus of Mr. Savarese and this association, that we talk about sportsmanship. And our coaches do a great job of teaching not only their schools, but their school communities about sportsmanship and how to treat each other and how to treat fans and being good stewards of the sports, not only just football, all our sports, of showing great sportsmanship. And so that would be an emphasis. We'll talk about making sure we'll be great hosts, as if you're hosting a playoff game, making sure that the administrators reach out to each other and seeing if one administrator need anything for their travels. We've had great examples of sportsmanship. And the prime example last year, Fayette County was playing host to a playoff game, and the visiting team buses broke down. Fayette County sent 5 of their buses to pick up players, bands, and fans and brought them to the stadium and fed them before the game out of their concession stands, and even provided buses for them to go back to their home stadium. So that's part of what we do and what our schools do. They do a great job in providing sportsmanship. And so it's always an emphasis, but our school do a great job even more than we emphasize it.
Alvin, that story you told about Fayette County, one of the reasons I love high school football in Alabama. It is special here. Those kind of stories are what makes high school football so special in Alabama. Thank you for joining us this week on the AHSAA Weekly.
Thank you for having me, John.
Don't crack under the pressure of foundation issues. The certified specialists at Ox Foundation Solutions can permanently fix foundation problems at the best price guaranteed. And did you know, moisture and unsafe air from your crawl space can infiltrate your home, causing health hazards and high utility bills. Ox Foundation Solutions has the best plan to keep your home safe. If you are experiencing any issues with your sidewalks, basement, crawl space, or foundation, get a free estimate from Ox Foundations.
WOTM, your TV home for high school sports in Alabama. This Thursday on WOTM, catch the AHSAA High School Football Game of the Week presented by Ox Foundations. This week's matchup will feature the Briarwood Lions versus the Fairfield Tigers. Stay with WOTM through the postseason for live games all 4 weeks of the playoffs. WOTM, the home of the AHSAA Super 7, live from Jordan-Hare.
The AHSAA Weekly continues now. We take you to Montgomery. The Assistant Director for Officials for the Alabama High School Athletic Association, Ken Washington, joins us once again. Ken, glad to have you back with us on the AHSAA Weekly.
Thanks, John. How are you doing?
Doing great, Ken. We have talked about a number of issues with you over the last couple of weeks. We want to bring up a very important one that is affecting not only high school athletics in the state of Alabama, but really all across the country. And that is a shortage of officials. And we want to talk about that. And really, to be honest with you, Ken, it is a concern and it is a problem not only here in Alabama, but across the country.
Yeah, it is a concern of ours and across the country. I could just kind of think back when I got started and I was out there as a player and a couple of our local referees was trying to convince me to officiate. And that's always a good way of getting someone started, is the word of mouth. And maybe just convincing someone and maybe telling them things that they don't necessarily know about officiate, and kind of kill some of those perspective or negative perspective people have of it. But that's one of the ways we try to recruit officials with our own officials. Another way is talking to our student athletes. A lot of universities have intramural programs. We try to utilize those and get people started.
Ken, one of the things we want to talk about also is not only attracting new officials. You want to get young officials in, get them into the pipeline, so to speak, and hopefully they're with you decades later officiating high school athletics, but also retaining the officials you have. You have a good official who comes in and you want to keep that guy in the system and keep him as an official for many, many years. What are some of the things that you and Mark Jones, the Director of Officials, are doing with the Athletic Association to not only attract new officials, but also to retain the ones that you have?
Well, this year we got a nice pay increase for our officials that was definitely needed. Our board members and our executive director felt that there was a need, and they actually approved it. And it was a big, huge thing for us. A lot of officials are underpaid, and they just felt the need that our officials deserved it, and we're very appreciative of that. So that always helped.
Ken, thank you so much for all the good information tonight as far as attracting officials and retaining the officials. We have some fine men and women across the state of Alabama that officiate high school sports, and we want to keep it that way in the years to come. Some great information tonight. Thank you for being with us on AHSAA Weekly.
All right, thanks for having me, John.
Ken Washington, Assistant Director of Officials for the Alabama High School Athletic Association, our guest again this week on the AHSAA Weekly.
Hot under the collar because your basement is full of water? Call a local company you can trust. Ox Foundation Solutions. We use the most advanced water management system to stop water from invading your basement for good. Get a free estimate from Ox Foundations.
Wrapping up this week's edition of the AHSAA Weekly, it is time for our Play of the Week from the WOTM Game of the Week. Last week it was White Plains playing host to Jacksonville. Here's Tommy Wood and Coach Rick Rhodes on the call.
3 minutes to play. Gets it out of there. Going to be fielded by Barksdale. They will run the reverse this time to Maynard. Not a good idea. Maynard's in trouble now. He'll go back to the left side, and he is going to pick up a wall and turn it on down the sideline. And still alive as he will bring it to about the 15-yard line. I said it was not a good idea. He fumbled and a scramble for it. And let's see, the officials there taking a look to see as they sort things out. If you're Coach Clint Smith, that's something you try to talk to Maynard about, the way he carries that football down the field. And you see him on the reverse. Bozarth right there, can't bring him down, but then he spins and goes back the other way.
And you do see that ball is out waving around. Of course, he's not the only guy in America that does that, but and get that ball high and tight, young man.
Good hustle from behind and knock it loose.
14-yard line where the Eagles will take over.
As we close out this week's edition of the AHSAA Weekly, we're going to show you some of the big events happening across the state of Alabama. Volleyball and football and a lot of other things happening across the state with the Alabama High School Athletic Association. We'll see you back here next week.